Hey guys, Rich here with Brotherhood Reviews, and we're back talking about an anime, and this is going to be the start of a new series on the channel, animes that need another season. And the first anime we're going to be talking about is The Cautious Hero, that is overpowered, overly powered, and overly cautious. Now, this came out in 2019, and it was brought to us by the same company that brings us Devil is a Part-Timer, and that did Goblin Slayer and many more. Now, Cautious Hero, I just recently finished, and it was hilarious. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to see anything crazily new. This is a very funny, I would say a lighthearted anime that only adapted the first two books of a light novel. So this is based off of a light novel, not an actual manga, which I am going to be ordering the light novel soon, because they I could not find any information about a second season release. So without further ado, if you like breakdowns like this, if you want to see more videos on anime and TV shows that need another season, definitely don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Okay, now let's get into it. Now, this is going to really, we're only going to really be talking about two characters, and that will pretty much explain everything that's happening. I am not going to break down each episode and what happens in each episode. I'm going to just give you a overall view of the two main characters, and by the end of the video you will understand mainly what is going on in this show. Now, first I want to start off by saying this is not an isekai anime. This is a Spirited Away anime, because he did not die to get to this other world. He was chosen to save this other world. So anybody who does not like isekais, this is not an isekai, and don't worry, it is very enjoyable. Now, we're going to talk about our main character, the hero, Seiya. Seiya is from Japan. He had extremely high skills to start off, because obviously most of these Spirited Away and or isekais like this, they do more of a video game system of ranking, and that video game feel of leveling up. And so Seiya had very high base stats for a level 1, so he was a prime candidate for this S-ranked mission that our goddess that chose him, whose name is Restarte, who is the other person we will be talking about later on. She will come up in us talking about Seiya, but this is mainly focused on Seiya. Now, Seiya is from Japan. He was chosen, and at first when he was chosen, he refused to go on this mission, but then he realized that he had no choice in the matter. Now, with realizing he had no choice in the matter, he immediately started to train. Now, with him immediately starting to train, he started leveling up pretty much immediately, but he could only go so high with his fighting, with his working out and level. So once he started doing other things, training with other gods, he got stronger and stronger. But then he was taking too long, and even though the world he was training in the god realm, it also, time moves way slower. He still had a job to do, so he had to go back, and he ended up going back and forth in order to see how strong, assess the situation, go back, train, learn a new skill, and then go defeat whatever he needed to defeat. Now, I enjoyed the fact that every time he went back to the world that he was saving, he knew that he couldn't just defeat the enemies by just being a higher level. So he would go back to the God realm and learn the god, whichever new gods we meet that day, is special skill, and then he would use their special skill to defeat said enemy. And I feel like that is unique, and even though he is overly cautious, we don't see him really running from danger. In a sense, we see him assessing a situation, gaining the skills he needs, and then coming back and using the skills to in a proficient way. And he really, in the God realm, he takes like 3 days, which is like an hour in their world, in the actual world's time. So he could spend like a whole day. It is probably like a month or something like that. So if he really wanted, so he I think he spent like a couple months in the beginning just training. So because we find out that he's using a fake out skill, so nobody can tell his real true power level. So with that, every time the goddess tries to look at it, she's locked out. He even tells her, like, listen, even if I told you, who knows if one of the enemies can trick you into telling them my power level so they can one up me or something like that. And he was like, I have to keep it a secret at all times. Now, once we get to the end, he gets 2 more party members. One's supposed to turn into a sword, the other one's a dragon, and he's supposed to use the sword to defeat the demon lord, but he ends up not wanting to do that because that means she would have to die in order to turn into the sword. Now, since he wasn't going to risk that, he had to find a new alternative to taking out the demon lord. Now, once he got to the point where there was nobody else but the demon lord left to take out, he tricked his party into thinking that they were gonna wait a day, assess the situation, and then he was gonna go defeat the demon lord. But it ended up he learned an ultimate technique from one of the gods and ended up taking out the demon lord like that, but in risking his own life. Now, the main rule was that once you complete the mission, or if you die as the hero, then you get sent back to your own world. But the demon lord did a spell so where if you died, then you die in your world as well. So he risked himself in the end to save his party when he was initially being overly cautious. Now, let's talk about Restarte. Restarte is the goddess that brought him there, that chose him for this mission. Now let's talk Restarte. Restarte is the goddess that brought the hero Seiya to, chosen him to become the hero of this world. Now, with that, it seemed like an accident. She was looking through a whole bunch of candidates. None of them seemed right at all. And then she slipped, fell, and one single piece of paper fell on her face. And that, my friends, was Seiya. Seiya had, like I said before, high stats, everything looked great about what he could do. So he went on this mission. She went on this mission to bring him there. And she herself was a new goddess. She had only saved 10 worlds. I believe, yeah, she said she had only saved 10 worlds, and then they gave her this S-class mission. Like, she had no choice in the matter, and she didn't understand why they didn't choose any more experienced goddess. But nonetheless, she ended up going. She ended up picking him, and as she was trying to understand the hero herself, she also confided in a lot of the other goddesses to aid her in like understanding why does this hero not want to actually be in the world and train to get better. Why is he always being distant? And they were just telling her, oh, you know, you just gotta let him do this at his own pace. You obviously he can't wait forever, but you know, you can nudge him and, you know, help him, support him like you're supposed to do. So she ends up, you know, going along with it until we get to the point where it starts becoming the end. Not only that, it's kind of funny because he's a very attractive man, so the whole time she's crushing on him, and it's like, it's weird because like everybody else ends up starting to, like all the female gods end up starting to crush on him except for Valkyrie, which is hilarious. And like definitely this is like adult, so you should definitely not, if you're under like 16, 17, like if you're under that age, you shouldn't really watch it. But anyways, so he, you know, all the women start falling in love with him and stuff, but Restarte just had this odd connection with him from the beginning, so she just really like, their relationship was weird. But then we find out at the end when they were supposed to like meet up and have a good like hang out the night before they go defeat the demon lord, as Restarte is with the other party members who are half dragonites, dragon blood or dragon king blood or whatever. They go back to their cabin or hotel or whatever it's called, and they realize that he isn't there yet. So Restarte gets summoned by, or goes back to the goddess realm and tries to figure out what's going on. She gets summoned by the head goddess and gets explained everything. Now this is where the story itself actually gets to become like an elite story for me. So the reason why Seiya had such high skills in the beginning is because he was already a hero from another from another world before, and the world that he was a world that they lost, which they should have won, but he kept just running into battles, not really planning anything, not trying to level up before his next battle so it would be a little bit easier. None of that. He was just blindly running in, killed a couple of his teammates, another dude lost his leg, he got a hole in his chest. There was a lot of things that happened that he did wrong, even though when you get sent back, you pretty much, I think they said that he forgot, like they lose their memory of what happened. So, but something happened when he got summoned again where like they're not, it's weird, they didn't say specifically he remembered everything and that, none of that. They said that he's extra cautious because of his experiences before. So that explains his cautionary tale. But we also see that once he we don't see, well, we also get told that during his time there, he was involved with one of the women from that world, and that girl that was a part of his party was pregnant with his child, and she ended up becoming the goddess Restarte after they lost and everybody died and their world got taken over. Now also, this is one of the greatest endings because it shows us that even though after she broke the rules, saved him. Then he had to do the death move twice in order to defeat the monster. But then because he died and came back and then died again, he was able to come back to life in his own world. And Restarte, obviously, because she broke the rules, well, I'll just tell, we won't get too much into detail about what she did, but pretty much she took a shortcut to the boss's lair to help Seiya, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to either go there with your hero, or follow him there. You can't just jump the line. But anyways, so she was getting in trouble for that, and her punishment is to save the world that they had originally condemned because of Seiya's ignorance. And the fact of the matter is, she was like, she can do it with Seiya, so because Seiya can come back. And that's how the series ends, the season ends. And I honestly need a season 2 of this. This is like an elite story. Like, you had me in the beginning with the comedy, with just the jokes, the camaraderie, the fact that you could tell Seiya didn't want nobody to get hurt, but you really didn't understand why he was so cautious. But then when you find out everything after because you think it's just some BS world that they're just trying to save, and then it just turns out there's more. It's more than that. But I really enjoyed this. I highly recommend it. Even it's 12 episodes. It's not long. It's not tiring. Suggest everybody to check it out, and I hope you guys have a good day, time, night, whenever you guys are listening to this. Thank you.